Thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me on archive. Hit the like button. All right. Also, make sure you hit that bell button, hit all that way you're notified every time DStyleBoxing comes on live. That whole good stuff. We'll be having a roundtable tonight. If you're watching this on archive, hit the like button. And this is my official Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Billy Joe Saunders prediction video, right? I want to talk about a couple of things here. First of all, shout out to everybody in the chat. Check this out, okay? I'm going to tell you how I think the fight's going to go, and then I'll touch on some other things. But first of all, I do believe that the fight will be competitive for the first 4 or 5 rounds. Billy Joe might be up on everybody's cards, maybe 4 rounds to 2, something like that, or like something even, like 3-3. In the middle rounds, I believe Canelo will take over by wearing down Billy Joe to the body, and then Canelo will pull away to win a clear decision by the end of that fight. I believe Billy Joe will go on survival mode in the second half of that fight, But that's what I believe. There's a chance Canelo can knock him out late, but that's my, kind of a bridge version of it. A couple of things I wanted to talk about, though. Okay, why do I believe that Billy Joe will do good at the beginning? The reason I believe Billy Joe will be doing really good at the beginning is because Billy Joe has really good footwork. Billy Joe does have quicker feet than Canelo, from what I could see and from what I can gather. I believe, of course, I do agree with the assessments that he hasn't looked as good since he fought Lemieux. I just believe that if God put a boxer on earth that was tailor-made for Billy Joe Saunders, his name would be David Lemieux, and he would be from Canada. He was tailor-made for him, okay? And when you put a guy that's tailor-made for a Canelo, he takes him out in 2 rounds. Billy Joe takes him to decision. That is the difference between those 2 guys, okay? So that's why I believe. I don't believe Billy Joe is going to be staying long periods of time in the pocket. When I look at Billy Joe, I see someone who's kind of like a mix or a hybrid of like an ambush fighter, okay, and a pure boxer. That's what I see when I see Billy Joe. Okay, he doesn't purely just box, stick and move, utilize the jab. Not all the time. Sometimes he comes in with a straight right, and he does kind of give himself a lot of distance, okay, outside of the pocket at moments in the middle of the fight, okay? So that's going to make it a little difficult for Canelo at first, to try to close that gap, close that distance, to cut off that ring on Billy Joe Saunders, all right? I don't in any way, shape, or form see Canelo following Billy Joe around the ring, which is why I don't understand the concept of Canelo needs to cut off the ring in order to win the fight. I just don't understand the concept. Canelo doesn't necessarily need to go after Billy Joe because Billy Joe, as I mentioned, is that kind of in-between hybrid of a pure boxer and an ambush fighter. So he needs to set up his ambushes. He needs to set up his traps and then come in and out on him. Okay, if you look at the fight between Bernard Hopkins and John Pascal, okay, Bernard was not putting pressure or cutting off the ring on John Pascal. He was waiting on Pascal to come in, and sometimes when they were at distance, he would throw a leaping hook on him, then hold him. Now that's not Canelo's bread and butter. And to me, Billy Joe just move a little more, utilizes the jab more than a John Pascal, puts punches together better than the John Pascal, but the reality is at some point, Billy Joe needs to come in. At some point, Billy Joe, he could be on the outside all he wants, right, as he circles in and out, but he's going to have to come into Canelo, right? And right now, from what I've seen from Saul Canelo Alvarez in the last few years, he has improved his ability to anticipate incoming traffic, okay, all right, any incoming ambushes. He has improved his ability to hit guys while they're circling out of motion. One of my biggest criticisms of Canelo early in his career was he was always kind of boxing on that one gear, right? He would kind of exert a lot of energy, take the middle rounds off, and then he would kind of pick it up at the end of the fight, all right? But it was always in that one gear, right? Canelo has now developed a shifter in his arsenal, in his offense. Okay, which what I see from him is he can go from gear 1 to gear 2 to gear 3, 4, 5, 6. He can go from 1 to 6 back to 3. He can go from 1 to 6 directly back to 1. That is the abilities that I see in Saul Canelo Alvarez right now. He's able in a dime, in a split second. As long as it takes you to snap your fingers, Canelo could pick up the pace. He could slow down the pace. It's what I've seen from him, right? His punch placement is one of the best in the game. Canelo doesn't waste punches, especially not like he used to, right? If you go back to Canelo Alvarez fight from years ago, if he threw a 3-punch combination, he was going to finish that 3-punch combination. Okay, there was no sense of urgency when it came to Canelo in many fights, which is why I think the perception was that the Trout fight was close. I don't think it was that close, but some people feel it was close. I feel it was competitive. Okay. In the Mayweather fight, he didn't have a sense of urgency. I do believe he learned a lot from that fight. Okay. But I didn't sense the urgency in Canelo at all. Now, it doesn't even appear to be urgency. He's able to pick up the pace when he needs to. Right. If you look at the Murray fight, every time Billy Joe would come in, okay, Murray was still landing body shots, and we're talking about this is an old Murray, right? He was still landing body shots when Billy Joe was on his way out from coming in the pocket, all right? Now, one punch that Canelo has in his arsenal that I believe is going to be devastating to Billy Joe, all right? Billy Joe has, first of all, a habit when he puts punches together, he kind of overextends his overhand right, all right? And he leaves his whole torso open, right? I do believe that Canelo is going to hit him in the body when he throws that overhand right. He usually throws it after a combination. He likes to end combinations with them. He also likes to start combinations with a lead right, okay, with a jab in between, and then ending it with an overhand right. If he does that, first of all, if I could sense that pattern, Canelo's going to see that pattern a mile away. Okay, so one sequence, I should say, that because good fighters have good punches, good punch placement. Great fighters have great sequences that they have. Okay, it is Canelo likes to start the punch where it looks like he's going to throw it to the body, and he may throw it to the body, or he could come up top and throw the uppercut. Okay, he could feint this hand and hit you with the uppercut. As well, what you got from Eric Morales, I'm just saying, okay? When Billy Joe Saunders overextends the right hand, because people could say all day, oh, but how's Canelo going to cut off the ring? He don't have to cut off the ring when Billy Joe's going to throw that overhand right. He's coming straight at Canelo, okay? That's what's going to happen. Once Billy Joe starts the combination, it's going on a straight line every single time. Canelo's going to land to the body, and then once Billy Joe is anticipating the body shots, the uppercut will come, okay? And I do believe at some point in this fight, Billy Joe's going to land on all fours, all right? At some point in this fight, all right? I do believe that's going to happen. Okay, he's going to overextend, Canelo, and it's going to be where he's kind of anticipating the body shot, and Canelo's going to turn it into that uppercut, okay, land it. You're going to see the head bob back, of Billy Joe. He's going to fall on all fours. I do believe that will happen. I'm just saying, okay? When it comes to Saul Canelo Alvarez, this is a fighter that has perfected his ability to, exercise his strengths and really do a good job of hiding his weaknesses. We all know Saul Canelo Alvarez doesn't have the fastest feet in the world, but he makes up for it, okay, first of all, with really, really good upper body movement, extremely good hand speed, which is something a lot of Billy Joe Saunders opponents did not have. If Murray was able to catch Billy Joe to the body while he's in the process of getting out of the pocket, what do you believe Saul Canelo Alvarez with the waist movement, with the upper body movement, with those combinations is going to do? All right, especially with those sequences he has, okay, that he can feint, feint to the body, go upstairs with an uppercut, or feint to the body, hit him with an overhand right? That's going to make it extremely interesting. All right. So I do think that's going to give Billy Joe a lot of problems. Okay, it's going to give him a world of problems. And once Canelo was able to figure out the pattern in Billy Joe, which he does have a pattern. Okay, his combinations have patterns. Yes, several of them. He's going to figure out exactly what Billy Joe is coming with. I don't believe Canelo's strategy should be to go after Billy Joe and try to cut off the ring on him, because that's what Billy Joe wants you to do. All right? What Canelo needs to do is apply pressure on Billy Joe, but stay at mid-range where Billy Joe can leap forward and hold you, lock you in, wait for the ref to break it up. All right? Just, stay at mid-range on him, and always make sure you're at punching range, because he's going to have to throw at some point. Billy Joe is going to have to set up traps. In order to do that, he's going to have to come to you. All right? The plan for Canelo in this fight is not to cut off the ring. The plan for Canelo in this fight is to stay at mid-range and find a way to get Billy Joe to get on his front foot, which is easy to do in my opinion. Okay? A lot of people say, oh, Jacobs isn't that type of fighter. Jacobs isn't the type to be on his back foot, and box. Danny Jacobs is a really good boxer, all right? But what Canelo did was he forced an ebb and flow fight, right? He didn't go after him. He didn't go to cut off the ring, right? You don't have to be the one making the fucking fight. If one guy isn't engaging, you don't need to go after him, right? Fights can happen like this. Fights can happen like this, but they can happen like this. At some point, you could stay in the middle of the ring. I saw it as well in the Golovkin fight, right? Canelo would kind of circle the ring on Golovkin or around that Corona sign, or he would stay in the middle of the ring against Golovkin, but he wouldn't necessarily go after him when he was now the aggressor. All right. That's just the truth. Now, I understand that Billy Joe obviously is a different style. Hey, Tony Bosso, man, I appreciate that. Much respect, DStyleBoxing chat. I'm from Dallas. I'm in Dallas. Get ready to rumble. That's what I'm talking about. Hope you have the DStyleBoxing t-shirt, brother. Okay. But anyway, hey, shout out to you, man. Billy Joe, hey, Shadow Ghost, man, how's it going, brother? I saw you in my last show, man. I'm producing during the show. I got the panel, and I got so much going on. I got the guest on. I don't get to everybody, man, but I appreciate everybody that shows up, man. Isaac, Boer, Moody, how do you going, man? Obviously, if Canelo wanted to just go after and apply pressure nonstop to Jacobs, that could have been a strategy. Okay, I'm not saying he couldn't have won that way, right? That's all Chavez Jr. knows how to do, and he was going after Jacobs that way, right? And then Jacobs started to pepper him away. It was working to Jacobs' advantage, okay? You don't give the guy that's on the move, all right, what they want. You don't go after them. You don't go to cut off the ring. Too many boxers have bought this narrative. Too many fans have bought this narrative, and that's what it is. That if a fighter's on his back foot and staying away from you, that it's your responsibility to catch up to them. All of a sudden, it's your responsibility to cut off the ring on them, okay, in order for it to be effective aggressiveness. Right. Otherwise, it's not effective. Therefore, a lot of fans that call themselves purists and also this shit say, well, that's boxing though. That's not running away and this and that. Obviously, yes. If you go after the guy that's on his back foot, that you have made it a silent agreement, okay, that he's going to be on his back foot. You're going to be the one, going after him. Right. So of course, at that point, both fighters are agreeing that that's what they both want to do in the fight. Right. But you don't have to do that. You're not going to play to the hand of what the guy on the move is wanting to do. If the guy on the move, if you wait for him in the middle of the ring and you don't necessarily close distance on him, but keep it at mid-range or from the outside, there's really no reason for you to go after them. They're going to have to come to you at some point because they need to land punches. You got to get at striking distance to land a punch, right? The inside, I do not believe in any way, shape, or form that Billy Joe Saunders can engage on an phone booth fight anywhere in the inside with Saul Canelo Alvarez. That would be retarded, okay? Unless he's really tired towards the end of the fight and Canelo's closing distance really, really easily, all right? So, yes, because of that, because Billy Joe doesn't want to be close to Canelo, he's going to have to resort to either A, holding Canelo and praying to God the ref doesn't warn him for holding, all right? Or he's going to have to exert more energy staying away from Canelo while still trying to get inside to land and then get out, okay? Canelo's going to touch it to the body. Every time he comes in, first of all, Canelo's head movement is exceptional now. It's way better than it was back in 2003. He actually moves his head, all right? He has one of the best and strongest guards in the game. Billy Joe's going to have to throw a multitude of punches to get something in through that guard. He's going to have to find a way. There's no, he ain't going to come with one punch at a time. He's not going to come like nothing like that, okay? It's hard to pierce through it with a jab. He's going to have to throw a multitude of punches. He's going to exert a lot of energy. He's going to get hit to the body. Canelo's going to utilize that uppercut, up the middle. Yes, Billy Joe's going to, create distance between the guys and try to ambush Canelo at times. But at the end of the day, he needs to come in, okay? I do agree, Psycho Boxing fan, because he cannot fuck with Canelo on the inside, he should hold, okay, or stay away. The problem for Billy Joe is that refs in Texas, at least from what I've seen, don't like the holding, okay? It's the reality. And I'm okay with holding if you do it once in a while, if it naturally just happens. But if it's an obvious tactic, at some point the refs should call you out for it. They should warn you. They should tell you, hey, chill out with the holding. All right? But it is going to be a long night, shit smoke. Absolutely. The other thing, I think, because you could pressure a guy without, like, people think pressure is just like, oh, you just go after him and you just stay on him, which, of course, you could pressure a guy that way, okay? But think about pressure in life, Just think about it, like, just in life in general, okay? What are the things that make you feel pressure before a job interview? You know what I mean? A kicker in the NFL that kicks a 40-yarder in practice all day like it's nothing feels the pressure, right? When it's the Super Bowl and it's a 35-yarder. You know what I mean? Like 25-yard, bro, it's easy. Like, fuck, if I don't make this shit, like, my team's going to, like, lose. And I'm going to be they're going to be like, what the fuck, bro? Right? Billy Joe, like, if you don't give him what he wants, right? If Canelo stays at distance with him and maybe follows him a little bit, but doesn't necessarily try to cut off the ring to work him into the body, right? If he forces it to be an ebb and flow fight, right, where one guy's circling, then the other guy's circling, just like he did with Jacobs, very tactically and very smart. Okay. What's up, Blood? How's it going, brother? Tony Boswell, how's it going? Taveras, how's it going? How's it going? Look, if he's able to do that, Billy Joe's going to feel the pressure. He's going to feel the I'm not winning these rounds pressure. He's going to feel the fuck, like I'm in Texas. This is pressure. He can falter to that, okay? And he may do some desperate things in the middle of that fight, and maybe some things he needs to do and take some risks that he needs to take because he's not going to win just playing it safe with Canelo. Canelo's too good of a fighter. It's not because it's in Texas and all that. And I'm not saying ignore those factors, but that's not why. You can't play it safe against exceptional fighters because they're doing exceptional things in the ring. And what are you doing to offset that? Okay? That's just the truth. The crowd is going to give him pressure. If he's not engaging, they're going to boo. It's going to be a pro-Canelo crowd. He's going to feel that pressure, okay? And later in the fight, when they're telling him, you're down, imagine being told you need a knockout. He's going to feel that pressure. And I don't think he's ready for it, man. I just don't. There's levels to boxing. There's more to boxing than this simple cat and mouse game that people like to pretend that there is, right? Oh, and it's going to be one guy in the back foot, one guy in the front foot, and the guy in the front foot His goal is to go after the guy in the back foot. He needs to cut off the ring on him, wear him down, and get him against the ropes and knock him out, right? The guy in the back foot needs to make him miss the whole time. And if he does that and pot shots him throughout the fight, he wins, right? I'm not saying there isn't those type of fights, because there is, right? Those are, but that's simplistic, in my opinion. That's when you have someone like an Angulo versus an Erislandy Lara, where one guy is known to just come forward, okay, and that's what he knows. He only knows that one gear to come forward, and the other guy knows one gear to be on his back foot. When you have guys like, and to his credit, like Billy Joe Saunders and Saul Canelo Alvarez, it's more, it's not as simplistic, okay? It's not 1 + 1 = 2 anymore. It's not 100 - 50 = 50 anymore. It's not 5 + 5 = 10 anymore, okay? Now it's calculus. Now it's advanced algebra. It's calculus in there. Now they're circling the ring. There's going to be ebbs and flows. Billy Joe is going to have to get on his front foot at times. What if Canelo decides, now I'm going to move back, and Canelo, while he doesn't have the fastest feet, okay, he's very educated with his feet. He knows where to be. He knows how to position himself. His pivoting is second to none in boxing, okay? So what if he decides to move? Now he's got to get on his front foot. So what is a fight everybody always talks about with Canelo, right? And the reason Floyd gave him a boxing lesson. The reason Floyd Mayweather gave him a boxing lesson, and look, it's not the same Canelo. Let me make that very clear. But the reason he gave him a boxing lesson, because there was times where Canelo decided, I'm not going to go after you, and Floyd got on the front foot, and he still gave him a boxing lesson. Okay, Canelo tried to do the shoulder roll against the ropes, and he was still getting lit up by Floyd while he had Canelo against the ropes. Because Floyd forced ebb and flow in that fight. That's why, because it was advanced algebra. Now Canelo, okay, has graduated. Now Canelo knows advanced algebra. Now Canelo knows calculus in that ring. Staying on your back foot and waiting for Canelo to cut out the ring is elementary. It's basic, and that's not the type of boxing we're seeing anymore. Okay, I'm just letting you know right now. With that said, Saul Canelo Alvarez, my official prediction is winning pretty wide on the scorecards, like 8 rounds to 4. All right, I believe the first 3-4 rounds, it's going to be Billy Joe's best rounds. And I think Canelo pulls away when it's a clear decision. There'll probably be a card that gave Canelo every round, and we're going to have all this fake outrage on here. Like, oh, they only gave Billy Joe 1 round. I gave him 4. There's always that one judge. Like, all that shit. Sure, I'm pretty sure there will be. Okay, but the right guy's going to win. All right. Also, I'm not trying to hedge it or anything, but I do believe a late knockout by Canelo is possible. That will happen. That if Billy Joe takes the risk that he needs to take to give himself a chance to win, to maybe hurt Canelo, I think he's going to get stopped late in that fight. So that's what I think. That's my 2B. That's my 1B prediction. But officially, decision. With that said, this is DStyleBoxing. Tell me what you think, Big Dog Willie. Blood Boxing, how you guys doing? Yo-Yo, how you doing? Bermudez, how you doing? Hey, Chunky, how you doing, brother? Sorry to interrupt the show, but F. Dylan White, I got you, brother. I appreciate that. You know what I mean? So to take it for what it is, guys, I would not bet on this fight. Personally, the odds just aren't there. Really? I just wouldn't do it. But that's just my opinion. Okay? This is DStyleBoxing. I'm out. Peace.